There's a legend round here. A killer buried, but not dead. A curse on Crystal Lake. A death curse. Jason Vorhee's curse. They say he died as a boy, but he keeps coming back.
The time has finally come. It's October 1st and the start of my channel's first Choptober. Not exactly sure what it's going to be. It's going to be celebrating horror, except for on Wednesdays when I do my comic reviews. Going to be a mixture of movie reviews and horror comic reviews, staying with the theme of my channel. And I'm going to start the month off with trying to finish off this damn Friday the 13th series that I bit off a little bit more than I can chew with the hurricane and everything and work. So today we're doing Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. This is one of those movies, every time I watch it, I come out feeling differently, and I don't understand why. Sometimes I really like it, and then I just rewatched it before getting on camera, and I had that empty feeling again. There's interesting things about it. The director, John Carl Buechler, recently passed, was special effects, practical effects guy, and he was given the opportunity to direct this. And as he stated in the Crystal Lake Memories documentary, the MPAA raped his movie. They ripped it apart so much, and they had to make so many changes and give in to get the movie released that his original vision just was killed by the MPAA. There's also weird things of like the cabin they explode near the end. It blew up too fast, and they kind of didn't get enough footage of it exploding. The footage is missing of the stuff that was cut, so I don't know if we'll ever get the complete cut of the movie ever, which would have been nice after John Carl Buechler died. The movie itself, they don't exactly say how many years after Part 6, but Jason is still he's still caged up, not even caged, got the rock holding him underwater. And we have Tina, her mother, and Dr. Cruz. Tina, as a child, turns out she has psychic abilities. It's basically Jason versus Carrie. And her dad had, smacked the shit out of her mom, and she's, out there on the boat saying, "I hate you." He goes out there to, try and calm her down, say he's sorry. And she's like, "I wish you were dead." And caves the whole entire dock in on him and kills him. Few years later, she's been in and out of mental institutes, and they take her down there. Dr. Cruz isn't really trying to help her. He's trying to figure out her powers and how to trigger them. Next door, there is a surprise birthday party about to happen, and we meet, I guess he's a protagonist, Nick. Nick becomes a love interest for Tina, and I'll be damned if they have some of the worst chemistry I've seen on film. The dialogue is just horrible. And Tina is played by Laura Park Lincoln. Dr. Cruz is played by Terry Kiser, who if you ever saw the Jonathan Silverman classic, Weekend at Bernie's, he played Bernie. He was the dead body getting dragged around. One of the antagonists, they have the mean girl Melissa. This also marks the first movie that Kane Hodder came into the Jason continuity as playing Jason. I know he's a lot of people's favorites. I'd say probably he's maybe my third or fourth favorite. I don't think he adds as much as others do. He's good. I'm not going to demean him, but I mean, all he does is the heavy breathing, and he's a little bit stockier. And I'm going to say it, Zombie Jason isn't exactly my favorite. But, so in this, Tina goes out to the dock after, the doctor is basically trying to trigger her, and she wishes that her dad was back and accidentally gets a hold of Jason down there and snaps the chain, and Jason pops out of the water. She passes out. She starts having visions of people he's killing, one of them being Nick's cousin Michael, who the party's for. Tina has interactions with some of the other people. There's the one guy who is a sci-fi writer, and he's like talking about his movie. What do you think of Star Mummy? The usual fare, kids getting stoned, drunk. You have some of the infighting, the couples. There's a couple of kills in here that are fantastic. One of them that was reused in Jason X was the sleeping bag kill, where Jason grabs a sleeping bag and starts beating it against the tree. Again, one that was a little trimmed down by the MPAA. We also have Jason using a giant weed whacker. I think it's a weed whacker. It's got a saw blade at the end. It might be a trimmer of some sort. Really interesting. Again, I would love to see the uncut version, the stuff that was on the cutting room floor. As the movie goes on, honestly, it's a lot of bullshit in between till we get to the final confrontation. When finally the end game starts and Jason comes to the house after they realize, this maniac's running around, we finally see Tina unleash her powers and have somewhat of a control on it. She's whizzing stuff at Jason. At one point, she pulls down a light fixture and takes the electrical wire and hangs him, and then blows open a door, not a door, but a hole in the floor, and drops him down it. Also, there's another scene where, light hits him and he flips and goes through the stairs. Once down in the basement, he is knocked down Nick, and he starts to put his foot into his back. Downstairs, she whizzes nails into his body and gets one in his forehead. One of the cool scenes is she busts off his mask, and you see this, rotting Jason now, where, half his face is part skull and it's kind of mangled. Basically has that expression when you wake up after a horrible hangover and you just kind of want to scream and you're a little angry. She also has a scene where she hits him with gasoline, lights him on fire. He follows her out to the docks. Her and Nick think they're safe, and he finally comes up and, tosses him aside, starts choking her, and she somehow raises her dad up from the dead, and he brings Jason under. He's got chains on for some reason. Not rotted or anything. I guess the water is very preservative there. It's a weird ending. Again, this is one of those movies that I understand why people would kind of get annoyed by, but a lot of people love it because it's the first Kane movie, and it's probably the best Kane did in the series, in my opinion. There's a lot of bad movies that follow this. I really enjoy parts of this movie, but there's also a lot that I just cannot stand. Rating-wise, I'd give this a 6, I think. Again, it's aggravating because, John Carl Buechler's vision just completely got destroyed by the MPAA. I must not really like this movie. I don't have a ton to say about it. Again, the John Carl Buechler's effects that he did for the rotting Jason, his shirt is ripped, and there's his shoulder blade bones sticking out. There is a lot of cool stuff, at least with the Jason stuff. Some of the kills were okay, but not exactly my favorite. I mean, my favorite probably was with the power tool, just because he comes out there and he's holding it and then revs it up. A couple of spike kills. again, it's an average movie, and I feel like this is the start of the decline with Paramount. Although coming up right after this is the real decline. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Again, I'm not saying don't watch it. Again, I've heard this is some people's favorites, but then again, there's a lot of people who hate Zombie Jason. Make your own conclusions. Again, there's some good, some bad, and I feel bad that John Carl Buechler's movie got ripped apart. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this movie, what bothered you, what you liked. And thank you, take care, and so long.